and giving us all the insight on how to purchase our first, second, third home. It doesn't even matter. She's here to give us everything we need. But before we go to the tips and the tricks, I got to give us an update and tell us what's going on at VLCM. So let's see. I have some announcements that I want to. We have t-shirts, our new Mantles, Miracles, and Manifestation t-shirt is on the website. It's live. I've ordered mine. It's only $25.49 if you go to vlcm.church. You can order yours too. Pastor's going to have us wear them, so you might as well order yours really soon so that you can have it on hand to wear. Also, please remember that our VLCM Cares team is going out Saturday, March 22nd at 10:30. They'll meet at the church. Meet us there so that we can serve our community with the love of God, with evangelism and the HIT, our homeless initiative team. They are both going out to serve the community. So if you want to be a part, meet us Saturday, March 22nd at 10:30 a.m. at the church. Please, please, please put on your calendar April 18th at 7 p.m. We will have a deliverance service. Of course, our pastor will be there giving a word, but we have a special guest. None other than Prophet Dion Brown will be in the house, and you don't want to miss it. Bring you, your family, and those who don't really want to come, bring them to come to our deliverance service April 18th at 7 p.m. We'll see you there. Also, our Easter service, Easter worship is April 20th at 10 a.m. Come and be a part of our worship service. Get there early because, as you know, seats fill up fast. 900 Round Rock Avenue, Easter Sunday. Also, our kids are doing Easter speeches. If you are a part of VLCM and you want your kid to have an Easter speech, please sign up in our GroupMe. They are handing out speeches on Sunday, I believe. So please email the church if you are not in the GroupMe, or inquire in the GroupMe for more information if you have not been in contact with the youth leaders for your youth to have an Easter speech. Also, I'm super excited. April 5th, we're going to have an Empower Her social. This is a day that we have a chat, we have conversations, we have food, and we want to give you some confidence on how and what to do to perfect your womanhood. So meet us on April 5th, 11 a.m., 900 Round Rock Avenue. It is going to be spectacular. Don't miss our Empower Her social. And those are our announcements. Listen, guys, I'm always seeking God on what to do for our women of worship and how to enhance us as the body of Christ, and so that we can continue to be all that God wants us to be. Please keep in mind that anything that we need to happen on earth that heaven wants to get to us, we have to have our ears open, and we have to have our hearts open to receive what God is saying, and he does it through us as individuals. And I believe that today heaven is going to respond to our needs. Heaven is going to respond to our requests. Heaven is going to respond to those questions that you've been burning to ask. How do I get a new home? How do I maintain the home that I have and get a second property? Or how can I get an apartment building so me and my family, we can all come together and live together? I believe that the sky is the limit, and I believe that God wants to get us everything that he desires. I believe that he wants to get it to us. We just have to find the right person to connect us to our need. So if you will, I'm going to take this opportunity to share on Facebook. If you will do the same, give us about 30 seconds to go ahead and share on Facebook with our friends, our followers, and our lurkers, because everybody deserves God's best. Let's share today's Women of Worship. All right. So, hello, Tiasia.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to be here. I'm feeling really good about this conversation, and you
Me
set it
too.
up perfectly. You did. This is about God's people figuring out how to reach this dream. And so many people think it's not achievable. And God says otherwise.
Absolutely. 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 So let me tell you, I met Tiaja some years ago through our pastor, Pastor Bettina, and they were doing a little chit chat. They were preparing. Do you remember y'all were preparing for the singles? What did you guys call it?
It was Real Love Singles. It was a
Yes.
conference. Yes.
Yes, the Real Love Singles Conference. And that is how I met this bubbly individual who, like me, has never met a stranger. And so we began talking. I said, I really like her. And from that day to this one, I consider her an amazing person to be connected with. And then from there, you were working at Concordia, is that right?
Yes.
In
At the
student
time,
affairs.
hmm I was
And
an
I
academic
had questions
advisor.
for you about my daughter, my older daughter. She was going into college, and I was like, hey, I am lost. And so you were able to help me there. And so I'm just setting it up because I want to let people know that when we have a need, God will supply people in our lives to put us in the direction of where He would have us to go. And I believe that tonight is a setup for somebody to get what they need in the way of real estate. And I know that real estate is a means of wealth, it is a stream of income, it is an opportunity for us to own something on the earth that we can leave to our children and our children's children, just as the word gives us. I do have some questions, but I want you to go ahead. I know that you all have a spiel. I know that you all have this thing that if you were on an elevator and you needed to let somebody know I'm a realtor, what would you tell us?
So I can honestly say I haven't quite perfected my elevator pitch.
Okay.
Most of the time, these conversations happen so organically. But here's what I will say: I help people navigate the complex process of buying a home, selling a home. And as a former educator, I'm so accustomed to taking a super complicated thing and breaking it down into steps that we can follow very easily. So it's a very smooth transition for me from education to real estate. But that is my goal. So many people I work with truly say, I don't think this is going to happen. Most of my clients that we've been able to, get them into a home, they say, I didn't think this could happen. So that's kind of how I think of this. I'm just helping people reach their dreams and showing them, hey, this is doable. We can actually make this work.
Absolutely. I remember when I purchased, prior to purchasing my first home, I never thought it was achievable. I had gotten so many no's. And a lot of times, as individuals, the no's will deter us from our yes because we give up because we just don't want to hear no again. And so when I my ex-husband and I, when we were first purchasing our home, we just kept hearing no, no, no. And then when we finally got to, okay, yeah, we can help y'all, it was a miracle. And I don't think I've told my testimony in this season of my life. So some people think, oh, she just arrived. I got a lot of no's, I got a lot of letdowns. And when I was purchasing my very first home, it was like rural, like cows across the street huddle. And we stumbled upon it because we were looking for a different builder. And so when we walked in, the guy said, oh sure, I can help you, I can help anybody. And I'm looking at him like, you just don't know my situation. And I declare that situations do not deter God from blessing us. My situation was just a setup for a testimony, and I believe the same thing can happen for other individuals if we would just take heed to what you're going to tell us tonight. So, my first question for you is it a good time to buy a home with all that is going on with the market and with the presidency and politics? Is it really a good time?
The only honest answer to that is maybe. People will say, oh, it's always a good time to buy real estate. I personally disagree with that. everyone's personal economy is what matters. So I did this
Ooh,
thing on Instagram where I talked about, people are always talking about interest rates. Presidency. At first it was, I'm gonna wait until after the election to see what's gonna happen. Yes, the national economy makes a difference, but what is going on in your personal finances? If it makes sense for you, yes. If not, no, because you don't want
right.
to be house poor. And that is a real thing that I help people navigate. Like, if you can afford it, great. But it's not always a good time to buy just because.
I agree. I totally agree with that. I so that will allow me to ask my next question. What is the average? So I know you do different let's see. I've seen you do purchase home purchasing in San Antonio, in Austin, various regions because you can do all of Central Texas, correct?
Yes. So I'm technically licensed in all of Texas, but I focus on Austin and San Antonio and kind of in between.
Okay. And so what is the average home that people are getting into right now?
So I'm such a nerd. I love these kinds of questions because I'm always looking at data. I'm always looking at data. The median is what we really want to look at. And the
Mhm.
reason that's important is because the average is always higher. It's like a sticker shock. So right now, Austin, of course, is much more expensive than the San Antonio area. That's just kind of the way it is. For now,
For now.
I'm from East Austin. I remember when it wasn't what it is today. I remember us getting a Starbucks in the hood and being like, what is going on? There are Starbucks popping up in the hood here in San Antonio. So I know I know we're about to get more expensive. But right now, the median sales price in the San Antonio area is about 300,000. But in Austin, it's sitting around like mid 400s.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
And that
is
scares people.
It does. It does scare people when you think about it. However, we won't talk about numbers because talking about numbers will scare people away from what they actually can afford. Because when we discipline ourselves, we can do
Mhm.
so much more than we think we can do. I think it's the discipline that deters people from being able to walk into their dream. And
Yes.
so,
Can I let me speak to this real quick though, because I want to go
yeah.
ahead and address this fear out the gate. When people are watching the news and they're scrolling through social media and they see realtors like me post statistics and data and numbers, I am actively helping people purchase homes that are well below those median numbers. So just because the median in Austin is 430,000, it doesn't mean only houses are priced like there are more houses in the market that are priced below that.
Mhm.
I don't want to nerd out too much because I love talking about this stuff, but I want to talk to that fear. Don't let that stop you from starting the conversation because what you might find is maybe you qualify for more than you think. And as a realtor, it's my job to go out here and hustle and know how to get you the best monthly payment as possible. So yes, the numbers are sitting at about 300,000 in San Antonio, at about 430,000 in Austin, but you can go and get a home and your monthly payment can still be $2,000 a month or less. It's about finding the right houses.
Yeah. So I shouldn't go out and look for my own home. Is that what you're telling me?
I personally don't recommend it. I know you mentioned new construction when y'all were purchasing in Hutto. And especially if you're working new construction, I have amazing sales rep friends that are new home sales reps, and none of them are like vicious or mean. But do not walk in there without a realtor. Do not do it because my job is to know the questions to ask. You may not think of the things that are really going to matter when it comes to your monthly payment. So I would say start the conversation with the realtor and let us help you navigate through that.
I totally wish that I would have gone in with the realtor. I believe that we could have got more incentives.
Mhm.
Now the sales rep that we had, he was just aloof or not a shark at all. And so he gave us all the things. But we probably could have gotten more. We just didn't know. But we were one of the last homes to kind of lock out this cul-de-sac kind of thing. And so we were able to get more than we bargained for, if you will. But like you said, when you start doing the numbers, you can find a realtor can find some gems for you that you didn't think that you would be able to locate on your own, because y'all have the MLS that is unpublished. Y'all know people whose homes haven't gone on the market yet. Y'all know things that are falling through before someone else may figure out that they've fallen through. And so I love the fact that you encourage us to get, no matter what, new construction, a home that's already, what is not an old home. What do you call them?
Resale, previously
Resale.
owned.
Yes, even those homes, you guys can help um get better deals on than we could on our own. And I know that there's a lot of like other companies out there that are more company based, and you just go through them, like what is it, Redfin
hmm
and those companies. But I still believe in a realtor speaking on your behalf. Just like you wouldn't go to a courtroom and represent yourself, you would call on an attorney, because an attorney has that lingo, and knows what to say and when to say it, when to hold them and when to show, okay, this is my evidence. And so I believe that that is y'all's role in the home buying process. Um,
Absolutely.
can you give me a story of a person who did not think that they would get to that finish line, and what you had to do to pull out all the stops and they were able to get into their home?
Yeah, the crazy part is the majority of my buyers that I've worked with have said we didn't think it could happen. So many, many stories come to mind. But one couple in particular that I was working with, what I love so much about them, they're older.
Mhm.
A lot of people think, we're still in that time where first time home buyers are able to go out here and purchase homes in their 20s. Y'all, the average age for the first time home buyer last year is 38 years old.
Wow.
People are pushing 40 before they can afford to get into a home. And I think that number is only going to go up. That age is only going to go up because the economy is not necessarily making the moves that as a realtor I want to see. And so, this couple is a little older. They raised their children. They're, enjoying their grandchildren, and they wanted to own a home. And I worked with them for the better part of a year, getting them ready. They had to go through some things with their credit,
Mhm.
and they had to get some of their documentation. They had issues pulling this form from the IRS. I mean, it was a lot. But myself and my lender rode with them through every single step, and they got their home. And what I love about it is it was their dream home. I had taken them to see several houses, and they purchased in Pflugerville, and I had to have a showing assistant go and unlock the door because I wasn't able to get to them that particular day. And she texted me, she said, "This is the one." And I love that so much because they didn't settle. It is exactly the home that they wanted. Now, this is not always the case. I'm not selling a dream that's unrealistic. Sometimes your first home is not your dream home, and I need people to know that. However, in this case, they have the home that they love. And so it was an amazing experience.
I love to hear that. I love to hear that. I remember my first home, my credit score was in the 500s.
Mhm.
And so we walk in and we're like, okay, we're just here to look. Someone had given a prophecy to us, just go look. And so we're like, okay, crazy faith. We go look, and they wrote out what the home would look like in the prophecy. And so the sales guy, he's like, okay, I'll take you. He was excited. I'll take you to look at some homes. And I said, well, I like this home. It was another home. And they was like, that belongs to somebody. But let me take you to a home that is vacant. That is, it had a few things that they still wanted to put in the home. I said, okay. So we go to the home, and my mouth dropped because I'm
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, this is to the T of the prophetic word that we got of what we should look like. And the person said, when you see this home, you'll know that it's yours. So I get there and I was like, this is our home, but I know what my credit score is. And so the guy said, do you like it? I said, sir, I am amazed at what this home looks like. This is it. So we go and we crunch numbers and we crunching numbers and he was like, it's really not adding up. He said, but it's not up to me to tell you that. He said, I have a company that you could go through. And he said, but while you're going through that company to get your credit prepared and ready for the lending process, he said, we're still going to build your home. And I said, nah, this got to be God because I ain't ever heard that because I'm not baking a cake that you ain't got no money for. I'm sorry. I'm kidding. But I didn't think that that is what I was walking into. And I love that what you said with that couple, it was their time.
Yeah.
It was what they wanted. It was their dream home. And God can set it up for us just like that. For me, the economy and where we are sitting right now, it's going to take faith and it's going to take discipline. And those coupled together can get people into the home that they need, they deserve, or that was prophesied to them. But we have to at least go out. If I'm starting from day one, where do I begin if I'm looking to get a home? Where do I begin?
So the first thing is to reach out to a realtor, and I promise y'all, my license says that I'm a salesperson, but I am the furthest thing from a salesy person. So I'm not saying that because I'm like, oh, go and talk to a realtor. But the reason that's so important is because we have partnered with lenders that can give us a snapshot of where we are right now, and then we can walk through that process with you to get you to the finish line. So, for example, let's say you want to purchase a home in the Austin area and you're like, I don't really know where to begin. Call me. Okay, make sure you call me. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through the process. Most people want to find out, what does this actually look like? So
Mhm.
I'll walk people through. It's called a buyer's consultation, and it's free. It takes about 20 minutes, depending on how many questions people have. And I walk them through the entire process from start to finish. They come in informed.
Okay.
Okay. The next thing we're going to do is get you connected with the lender. And the way I explain it in my buyer's consultation is the lender is going to take a screenshot of your finances. They're going to look at your credit, which, by the way, having a credit score in the 500s is not a deal breaker. I need people to hear that. You can purchase a home with some loans for as low as 580 credit score. There are some that can even get you lower than that, depending on how much you can get put down. But we're
Mhm.
going to look at the lender's going to look at your credit score. They're going to look at your debt to income. All that means is, how much money are you paying towards bills and debt? And how does that compare to how much money you bring in? They're also going to look at your employment history. Ideally, we like to see that you've been in your industry for about 2 years and kind of see, that stability. And they're going to take a screenshot of that. And depending on where you are, I say this to everybody, we may get a yes, let's go, green light. Next thing we're going to do is, like you see on HGTV, we're looking for houses. We may get a yellow light. It's never a red light, ever. It may be a yellow light. And that could be your credit needs a little bit of work. We need to pay down some debt. But you wouldn't know that if you didn't start the process. People are so afraid to start the process. And it is an overwhelming experience because, it's a lot of money, a lot of time. But I promise it's not as scary as people think.
It's not. It's doable. And an analogy that I love to use: how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And it's a ginormous goal, but it's a goal that we can, like you said, yellow light just means we got to slow down. We got to slow down and pay attention to some other things before we're able to walk through that door. And it's the paying attention to the things that kind of make us like, They're going to see that I'm not paying this. They're going to see that I'm buying too much of this. They're going to see that I don't make enough of this. And so, what our church has done is this month we dedicated all of our Bible studies to helping people get on a budget, to helping people be more conscious about spending, to helping them get to a place where they're more conscious or focused on, do I really need this right now or can I wait? And the way apartments, I read today or yesterday that they're building more apartments in the Pflugerville, Hutto, Round Rock area, but they're not going down on the lease payments for these. The apartments are
No.
astronomically expensive. And when I saw one apartment, it was like 2 bedrooms, and it was the amount of my first mortgage. And I was like, how are they charging mortgage prices for these apartments that have shared walls? Half of them don't have garages, and then you got just so many other things, stipulations that you have to abide by, and it's not yours. You have no tax benefits from owning an apartment. And so I was thinking, we've got to get our people the to push away the fear, push
Yes.
away the intimidation that we can do this. When you take your snapshot, it just gives you goals to work on, right? Isn't that what it is?
Exactly.
It just
That's
tells
exactly
you.
what it is.
Mhm.
I like to call it a personalized home buying plan. Myself and my lender, once we look at everything and we get an idea of where we are, it is literally a step by step. Okay, you need credit repair. I have a reputable credit repair company. Emphasis on the reputable. Y'all don't just go and spend your money with any old person that you saw on a Facebook comment that they wiped out student loans. Because no, they didn't. They did not wipe out your student loans. Let me start by saying, not everybody is reputable, but I have a reputable credit repair company that I work with. If that's our first step, I am here every step of the way. I'm making that introduction. I'm putting us in a group chat. Hey, so and so, this is my friend that I'm working with. Whatever step one looks like, I'm here for it. And we're gonna go step by step. It is a very thorough plan. As long as you are rolling with me, I am rolling with you. And that's just what it looks like. It's not us judging. I don't care how much credit card debt you have. I may have more.
Right.
It doesn't matter. We can get you there.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And then it may take a little time, but at least you have that on the forefront of your mind. You know why you had to slow down. Like you said, it's not a red light. It's just let's slow down and pay attention to some things and get some other things in order before we get to going to looking at homes. But I've seen people go out and look for homes, and then their feelings are hurt, or they're like just devastated that they did not get a chance to purchase a home. Another thing people don't understand with credit is that just because you make enough money, you may not have the credit score or the other things that align with you being able to take on this mortgage. And I know you're not a lender. And so have you seen people do backwards? They have this perfect home and then they do not qualify for it at that time.
None of my people,
Okay.
I have not seen that happen with any of my people because I don't skip that step
Mm,
because it is such a disappointment. It's really important that I make sure and my clients make sure that we're clear on the budget before they go out because I know what that's like where you fall in love with a home that you know you can't afford. If you're working with me, I'm not going to show you a home you can't afford. And how do I know you can't afford it? Because I have the lender's numbers, you know?
you have
So
that snapshot.
I have my system set up to where when people are working with me, they don't have to go through that disappointment because it's just that's a hard blow that you don't have to take.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It can be devastating to get all the way to that table and be like, man, how did this not happen for me? Can you tell me, are there perks and benefits to first time home buyers? What's out there for those people?
So there are so many ways that I am finding OPM, other people's money. I help people purchase homes with other people's money. That's my thing.
Yes.
So as a first time home buyer, there are several grants. The most popular one is one that is from the state of Texas, and they will give you a forgivable. Well, it's not even forgivable. They don't charge you anything for it. It's a grant. It's free money, okay? And it's going to be based on your credit score. The thing about like down payment assistance and these types of grants, your credit score does have to be a little higher than maybe like a 580, but they will give you a certain percentage. It could be 2%, it could be 3%, 5% of however much your home costs. And they'll give you that money and you can use it to pay for your closing costs or for your down payment. And that is real money. I've worked with people through that program. There is another program where it's technically a loan, but it's forgivable after 3 years. You don't pay a penny on that loan. As long as you stay in your home for 3 years or more, it's wiped away. And it's the same kind of setup. They give you a certain percentage of money towards your down payment or your closing costs. So, yes, outside of those types of grants, y'all, these builders are throwing money at people. They're throwing money. I have builders reps that I'm like, hey, are y'all paying for closing costs? They're like, yeah, we'll cover 100% of your closing costs.
Wow, that's major.
It's huge. Everybody knows about down payment. Everybody knows down payment, which by the way, you do not need 20%. Let me go ahead and pop that bubble. You do not need 20% for down payment. Okay. But closing costs is something that a lot of people don't think about. They don't even know that that exists. When you purchase a check, that includes your down payment amount and any costs associated with it. Things like, loan processing fees, you got to pay for that credit report that was ran, those types of costs. We're talking thousands and thousands of dollars, thousands and thousands of dollars that I can help you get covered. There's money out here. You just got to have somebody who knows how to find it.
That is so good. And I love that because you're an educator, you can break all these things down. And then you're inquisitive to know what to ask. Um, and you want somebody that will do that for you, and who's a bulldog at it. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna get the money. Because at the end of the day, flipping this is your this is your means of income as well. And because it's your means of income, you want to get them to the closing table so that you can do what you need to do for your own family, your own household, your own self. And so because you don't have a this you went into full time, right?
I'm full time. It is not only my passion, it is my profession. This is all I do. Thank God he opened that door. He kicked that door open. It was unbelievable how he set it up for me to be able to do real estate. I told God, this is off subject, but I told God, God called me into real estate. People say, how did you get into this? I woke up one morning during COVID and God said, real estate. And I was like, what? I never wanted to be an entrepreneur. I like my paycheck to come every 2 weeks. I like my benefits package. So I was like, God, you want me to do what? But I enrolled in my classes. I just so happened to have the exact amount of money for my class fees saved under my bed.
Wow.
I enrolled in the classes and I told God, okay, God, this is on you. And when I got everything started, I knew it wouldn't be an overnight success. But I said, Lord, I want to be part-time for 2 years and then I'd like to be full-time. And that's exactly what God did. And that's how I know that that's why this is so important to me, because God placed me in this industry. And I know if I can get to where I am and kind of jump through the hurdles and figure it out, I'm going to help people get to their home. That's what I'm literally purposed to do.
Wow, that is amazing. That is an amazing testimony. And it's not off subject because there are people who aspire not only to purchase a home, to sell a home, but also to be real estate agents. It is definitely dedication. I never tell this, but I went just crazy me in 2008. I went and I sat for my broker's license in Florida, passed. But if it's not a passion of yours, or if you don't have someone that is giving you the real about what to expect, or how to go out and get clients, or how to go out and be versed in the market, you'll fail. You won't pass. You won't get to this level. And to know that you are 100% in your profession, you don't have anything else to fall back on, says a lot about you. And it also says a lot about how you threw caution to the wind and heard the voice of God and leaned in into what he was saying. That is so amazing. How was the test? Tell me about the test.
So I studied really hard for the test. I sat, thank God I only had to take it one time. There's two parts of it. There's the state exam and the national exam. And Texas is notorious across the country for having one of the hardest state exams. And so I studied and I took the like exam prep course about 3 times. And I studied nonstop for 2 weeks. So I only had to take it once. But reading, when they printed out that little paper and handed it to me, I could have fainted before I turned it over.
I've never seen any of this.
Like, what is this?
Wow. Okay. Is it a long exam?
It took me, I want to say I was probably in there for a couple of hours. It's written to be tricky, and that's the whole thing they train you on, at least at the school that I went to. They train you to spot where the question is trying to trip you up. So it took me a couple of hours, but when I walked out of there, I felt okay. I wasn't really sure because it's
Mhm.
tricky, but it went well. I got the license on the first try, thank God, because I don't know if I would have been able to go through that test again.
Would you recommend it for anyone else?
Absolutely. I tell people, if you are even remotely interested in real estate,
Hmm.
let's have a conversation. I am a semi newbie. I'm not at the level that I aspire to be. I've got people who are veteran agents who are killing it, closing deals left and right. They are the people that I lean on, and they show me the ropes. And that's what it takes. You know, you've got to have the right people. But if you're even remotely interested, yes, take a look into it. If you're not a self starter, don't come over here.
Right, because it's easy to just lay on in the bed, um, and hope that someone rings your phone to say they want to. But it's so competitive. On Facebook, someone says, I'm interested in purchasing a home. There were so many comments, and I was like, whoa, that is not how you do this. But I believe that relationship is what helps seal deals and connects realtors to the home buyer. So my question is, when it comes to purchasing a home, what is the hardest part? What's the hardest part?
Having the money,
Okay. Yeah.
honestly, having the money. That's why I'm so committed to finding money for people. Um, when I go through my buyer's consultation, I front load people with a lot of information because I am an educator at heart, and I don't like surprises in this work.
Hmm.
No, surprise me with a trip, a birthday cake, surprise me in all kinds of ways. Do not surprise me and my client asking us for some more money.
Yeah.
So I front load people with a lot of information on the different costs. There's some upfront costs, and then there's money that you bring at closing to the closing table. But
Mhm.
that is usually the hurdle. Affordability is a main hurdle right now. If I could give one piece of advice about this is really important to me, and a lot of people don't think of it this way. Thinking back to what we were talking about with prices, the key in this market, how are people affording to buy houses? Not everybody around here can afford a $4,000 home, $400,000 home. What matters more than the sales price in today's market is the interest rate. Finding you an interest rate that is lower is going to take your payment down every month. Okay. So navigating through that, that's mostly what I'm working with people on. Like, okay, I know you need money to for your down payment. Got it. I know where to find that. I know you need money for the closing costs. Got it. I know where to find that. How can we make your monthly payment as affordable as possible? Getting you a lower interest rate. And there are ways for us to do that.
Yeah. Find points and things like that. But like you
Mhm.
said, it's the affordability, it's the money. When I purchased my home, and I know this probably may not be the best, but I work for a company that allowed us to take loans from our 401k.
Mhm.
And then when you took the loan, you were able to pay it back in increments, like over a duration of, there was no time limit per se. It was stretched out for a long time. And so I thought it was worth it to get this loan off my 401k. I wasn't going to retire anytime soon, to allow to set us up to be able to have a home, which then, after your first year, you claim all of this interest that you've paid into it and then pay that loan back. And so it kind of just worked out. So like you said, there are creative ways to get to the money. You just have to know people who are versed in getting to the money. Um, and then I want to go back to being house poor or house
Mm.
rich. And there are times when leasing an apartment is the better option. I know some, but when is it time for just to stay in your lease versus going and taking that plunge to purchase a home?
I love this question because it gives me an opportunity to put some things on people's minds. I am a salesperson on my license, but I am not salesy. If it's not the right time, I'm not going to push you because then I have to answer to God.
Yep.
And I'm not doing it. Even if my clients are not believers or whatever, I'm praying every step of the way. Whenever the Holy Spirit's like, this is not going to work, it's not the right time. It's not the right time.
Mm-hmm.
Owning a home, buying a home is about so much more than being able to afford what you pay the bank every month. Okay. Your mortgage payment is four parts. You got your principal and interest. I'm not going to nerd out too much because I love this stuff. But you got your principal and interest. And then you have your taxes and insurance. We call it PITI or PITI. That is what you pay the bank every month. Other things to keep in mind is that what if something breaks? We are accustomed to being able to call the maintenance guys, hey, something's wrong with my dishwasher. Well, when you own that home, who are you calling?
It's on
You
you.
calling It's on you. You're calling somebody and they're going to be asking you to swipe your card
Right.
when they're done. Unless you buy new construction, then we get you a good warranty. I got ways around it. But if you buy a resale home, you are going to be on the line for those things. So when we're talking about what goes into being able to comfortably afford a home, that's the difference. You can comfortably afford a home when you have a little bit of money set aside for unexpected repair costs, when you are able to pay your mortgage to the bank and still have some money left over. When people buy a new home, I don't know why this happens, but a lot of times people buy a new home and they buy a new car right after. I guess it's the newness. Can you afford to still pay your bills? If you're in a place where it does not make sense to go and purchase a home, even if you currently pay $2,100 on your rent and you can find a house for $2,100, it is not always equal. So we'll talk through that. My lender is very good about talking through that. Being house poor simply means you don't have any money left over. And if something goes wrong in this home, it is on you. And we have to be very careful. So it may make sense to rent. Sometimes renting is the best option.
I agree. Not only those, in addition to those things, you still have a lawn to maintain. You still want to live. You still have to buy groceries.
Oh God.
Utilities increase because most times you're on a co-op when you are in an apartment. And then when you have this new home, of course, it's bigger, it's probably larger, more square foot. You gotta heat this big old home or cool this big home. And those are just things that we just don't take into consideration when you purchase a home. Another thing, you have to consider if you live in a subdivision that has what is it, homeowners and
HOA.
HOA,
Mm-hmm.
the association, you still have to pay that quarterly HOA fees or dues or whatever. And so there's so much that is to be taken into consideration, in addition to the things that may break, or in addition to the things that just may not go well in the home initially. And then we also have to consider, for new construction homes, normally the first year your taxes and insurance is based upon the lot.
Let's get into that.
Yes, it's based upon the cost of the lot. It's not based upon the cost of the how much your home will then be, um I'm losing my
Appraised for.
your
Mm-hmm.
appraisal
Mm-hmm.
value once the home is built and the neighborhood is built out or the school is fully funded or whatever. So then you have this increased mortgage payment that you did
Right.
not account for initially, because a lot of sometimes, um the seller is just trying to get you in the home. The new construction salesperson is just trying to get you in the home. And I love that you say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm going to educate you on this process so that you're fully aware of what you're getting yourself into. And because of that, you think like me. When I have to lay my head down at night, I don't want to be wondering, oh man, I should have told them that they got to pay an extra $200.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to explain to God why somebody is going through or have that hanging over my head later, just so that I can get a sale. It's not really all about the sale. At the end of the day, I want them to be happy. I want them to still be able to go to brunch. I want them to still be able to buy a pair of shoes at the end of the day. I love that. She say, I'm not a salesperson. I'm here to
Yeah.
educate you on the home buying process.
That's it. And two things I want to say about that. You're
Hmm.
talking about considering your lifestyle. That's an important piece of it. There are many people who make so much money, I mean crazy amounts of money in their income, and they rent.
Yep.
Why is that? Because they want to be able to go to Fiji if they feel like it. They go on vacations multiple times a year. Their lifestyle and what they want to spend their money on is not always a mortgage. They like
Right.
the flexibility of being able to rent. And sometimes that is where people are. And I understand that completely. The second thing I want to say, though, I want to really, really hone in on what you mentioned. I don't know. I can kind of see some comments, but I'm curious to
Oh,
see. I can see them. Here they are.
okay.
I'm curious to see if people have heard about these horror stories that you're talking about. Have y'all heard about my mortgage payment went up $500? I'm just curious if you put something in the chat. I just want to know. What happens is, like you were mentioning, when you buy new construction, it was a flat piece of empty land. We call it unimproved property. There was nothing on it. And the city or the county comes out and they say, oh, this is worth $100,000. When you go through with a new construction sale, oftentimes you're using their lender. Let me be clear. When you're working new construction, most of the time you're going to start with the builder's lender. A part of what I do for my clients, because I know when they run the numbers and crunch the numbers, they're looking at that $100,000 value of flat land. I'll ask the lender, are you running the taxes based on the unimproved property, or is this going to be based on an actual home on the land? And that's so important because this is how the horror story happens. My mortgage went up $400. Well, what happened is now your property value, which is what your taxes are based on, is so much higher. Why does my mortgage fluctuate and how can I fix that? Your property taxes go up, your monthly payment goes up. Another factor people don't think about is your homeowner's insurance is also going to go up. So the first thing I do after we close, after my clients close on a home, I'm texting them about a month later. Hey, did you file for your homestead exemption? In the state of Texas, we have a homestead exemption where it is going to put a cap on how much the county can tax you on your property. Okay. That is one way to save money. I'm also going to educate my clients on how can you protest your property taxes. It's a huge way to get the county to back off and say, I know I told you it was worth 400,000, but okay, we'll let you have it at 300,000. Shop around your homeowner's insurance every year. Don't just let the payment go up. Shop around. I have an excellent homeowner's insurance agent who can shop around for the best rates. So yes, those horror stories happen, but I try to safeguard my clients up front. And first of all, ask the lender, don't pull the okey doke over on us. How are you crunching these numbers for the taxes? And figuring out how they're able to get that payment and prevent it as much as possible from going up too high.
I love that. And shopping around your insurance really does just as you would your automobile insurance, do the same for your homeowner's insurance. That is so good. Let's see. I finally pulled up these questions.
Okay.
Huh. I mean the comments I can see. If you guys have a question, put it in the chat and we will do our best to get to it. We want to make sure that you guys feel empowered tonight. We want to make sure that your questions that you have about buying your first home are answered. But let me ask some questions about selling a home.
Yeah.
So when you go to sell a home, should I inquire the help of a realtor as well?
100%. And that's because we understand the market. When you go and you look on maybe Zillow, it's going to say your home is worth X amount of dollars, right? And there are people who rely on that number, but it's literally an algorithm, y'all. The difference between a Zillow Zestimate, as they call it, where they say your home is worth this much money, Zillow has not sent anybody to your house. They have not inspected the condition of the property. They don't know that you renovated the kitchen. They don't know that, maybe you need a little work on something. They're literally crunching numbers in an algorithm and sending it through a calculator and giving you a number based on that. So that's one reason. You want to make sure that your pricing is right. But selling a home in today's market, because the interest rates are so high and because people are concerned about affordability, it takes real strategy. And that's what your realtor offers you, actual strategy to get the home sold.
That's good. I love that. Um, when you think about selling a home, all sis- uh, what we customarily figure is the dollar amount, the bottom line. The okay, I'm selling a home. This is how much money I'm going to get in my pocket. But like you said, there's so many other factors when you do sell a home. Kind of the condition of the home. Are you at the end of your warranties for majority of your things? So when the new tenants or the new people come in, the new owners come in, those are things they're going to take into consideration because they want to pay as low as they can, but you want as much as you can. What are some things if you want to sell your home that you should do to get it prepared to be on the market?
The first thing I tell people when they're thinking about selling a home, in order to sell a home, you have to think like a buyer.
Yeah.
People's houses don't sell for one of two reasons: it's overpriced
Mhm.
or it wasn't marketed properly. There was no real strategy behind the marketing. When we're getting a home ready, the first thing I'm going to do is I'll meet with you. I'll come, you invite me into the home. I'll take a look around. And I've already looked at other homes in the neighborhood. I've got an idea of what is happening in your specific neighborhood, what those numbers look like. And we're going to compare your home, the condition of the home, with other homes that have sold. And that's going to get us an idea of the price. But if you
Mhm.
say to me, I don't really like that number, I want to make more, how can I get it ready? When a buyer walks into your home, we provide them an experience. I'm not helping you sell your house. I am helping a buyer visualize themselves in your house.
Yeah.
That is actually my job, to show you what we need to do to make it very clear when the people walk in, this is my home.
Yeah.
Little things, y'all, it isn't always super detailed. The last thing you want to do is go and gut your kitchen and spend $50,000 on a brand new kitchen. You'd be surprised how much you can increase your value if you do a good deep clean, if you maybe change out some of the hardware on your cabinets. A little fresh paint goes a long way. So, a huge piece of advice: if you're thinking about selling, talk to a realtor, even if you're not ready right now. Talk to a realtor, because we are working with buyers and sellers. Some of us work with both. I work with both. I know what buyers want. And we need your house to be what a buyer wants. And so I can give you pointers on, this is going to give you the highest return on your investment if you make a few little minor changes. Do not just go and gut everything to you think you need to make your home look like a model home. That is not it's not what it takes. So That's the main thing, really talking to a realtor, getting an idea of the minor changes that you could make. And it can be very simple. Selling a home is a lot more simple than people think.
I agree. You don't have to. Now sometimes it is really good to stage a
Oh,
home.
for sure.
But like you said, the best thing you can do is some paint. Make it smell good. I
Oh,
love
please.
going to walk into the model homes, getting ideas of the things that they've done to decorate, but you may not get the money back that you spent. So try to get as much bang for your buck as you can, so that when you do sell, you have that money in your pocket versus paying off the that money or credit cards or whatever you may have put those
Right.
repairs on. So that is really really good.
Yeah, there are not many things. I will even say there are not really any things that you're going to get a dollar for dollar return on. I've had people where I'm like, we're consulting about selling their home. Well, I put $10,000 into the kitchen. Well, I can't just tack a $10,000 on top of your home sales price.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. It's way too much for me to nerd out on right now. But if anybody's curious, I have a little document where I highlight what types of renovations or upgrades are going to statistically get you the most return on investment. So I'm happy to share that because that's so important for people to understand. You don't have to spend as much money as you think to get your home ready for the market.
I love that. Now, I'm gonna let you go because I know you have things to do. But I want to know, how likely would it be for someone who's purchased their first home, their second home, to now get a multi-unit property? What are we looking at in that area? Because a lot of us, I'm speaking it into the atmosphere, we deserve to have multi-unit properties. We deserve to have an apartment building. We deserve to have, lofts that we want to be able to house people and have tenants and all those kinds of things. How likely is that happening currently?
It is happening every day all over the place. The beautiful thing about the markets that I work in, San Antonio, Austin, and everywhere in between, my theory is that Austin and San Antonio are going to start to eat each other like DFW. We have DFW. I think we're on our way to ASA or something along those lines. That's what I think we're headed for. And the reason I bring that up is because people who are wanting to become investors, which is what you're talking about, they want to become investors. They want to have multifamily units. You have to be tuned into, or your realtor rather, has to be tuned into, first of all, where is this most popular? So you already said a little bit earlier, there's an apartment popping up everywhere on every corner in Pflugerville. There's an apartment popping up in every corner in Hutto. They're all over the place. It's really a matter of financing.
Mhm.
It's quite literally, we take your assets. If you're already a home owner, that is an asset. You hear people talk about equity, equity, equity. Equity is only good if you tap into it.
Right.
You got to pull the money out in
Yeah.
order to use it. So if you already have a home and you have those assets, you want to move into multifamily, there are specific types of loans that are designed for people who are wanting to purchase multifamily. We can get you one that's already built. Maybe you do some renovations. You don't have to worry about messing too much with the bones of the home. We can get you a construction loan where we help you buy some land and you build the multi-unit property on your own. So there's so many ways, and I think there's so many opportunities for people to tap into this. This is how you make money in your sleep.
This is how you make money in your sleep.
It's how you do it.
Yep. Yep. I know quite a few people who have they purchased their first home, pulled the equity out, purchased their second home, and then they're going to the multifamily units. Um and I guess Austin just seems so, like you said, it's like we're all on top of one another. Where are they building? How can I get into a different place? And I love that. We're gonna have to start building on our own land. We're gonna have to start going out into the not so popular, but will be popular in a few years places. And it's for me, it's all about a weight gain, being patient, because at one point no one was living in Gerald. What is,
Nobody.
huh? But now that is where homes are being built. People are not driving to Buda unless you had, land or something of that nature. But now people are commuting from Buda to Austin to go to the big corporations here in the city. And so we may have to go out a little bit further to build those multifamily units, to build our first home, to build our second home. We have to be okay with driving and being uncomfortable for just a little bit so that we can have what we know we deserve. We deserve to have God's absolute best.
Yes.
But in order to have God's absolute best, we have to learn to be patient and figure out the timing and really tune into what he's saying. Like you said, when he told you, okay, baby, now it's time. It's time to go ahead. It's time for you to have a profession and switch your profession from education to real estate. If you would have drug your feet, you may not have hit this sweet spot. Do you agree? Like, to me, this is just me trying to peer in a little bit. The pandemic allowed you time to kind of get your feet wet because people were not out as much. They weren't really doing a lot of looking into homes, so you were able to get that education. You were able to kind of go slowly, but trying to get into real estate now, you got to put your skates on. You-
Yeah, when I got into the market, when I got into the industry, a lot of the veteran agents that I know, they were like, "You picked a fine time to do it," because I actually missed the COVID crazy when interest rates were three
Mm.
percent and houses were flying off the shelves, the
Million
streets
dollar
rather.
homes. Oh God.
What was happening during that time because the interest rates? Remember, I said the purchase price is important, but the interest rate is what is really going to make a difference on how much you pay every month. So what you pay monthly for a $300,000 home at one interest rate can be significantly lower if your interest rate is only 3%. And that's what was happening during COVID. But I wasn't licensed.
Yes.
I was in
Oh.
classes. So I missed the COVID crazy. I got in just in time for interest rates to be like 8%. So yeah, it was a mess.
But that's okay. I believe that the market right now is a little steady. Um, because I remember in Florida in 2008 when the whole crisis hit, and we were going to purchase a home then, and they were like, "Oh, interest rates are 9%." Baby, that I was like, "They're what?" We were thinking this is absolutely crazy. Who buys a home at 9%? But now we're like, "Okay, 9%, I think we can do that."
Yeah,
But that
and
was
that's what's
also 15 or
happening. Oh,
so
go ahead.
years ago.
Mhm.
It's all about timing. Right now, we're wrapping our minds around, okay, this, we're settling in. This is how it's going to be. We're trusting God that we're going to pay these mortgages. And but then just think, the people who sold their home during that time now having to buy a new home at this escalated interest rate. They're probably like, what, why did I do that? Selling my home for $200,000 more than it was worth during the COVID crazy. I like that. Now it's hard to find a home that is even equitable to what you sold because of how the market just kind of was crazy, if
Right.
for lack of a better term. But I love how you pointed that out there, good and bad, and it's all about your personal economy. We're going back to the first thing you said. It's all about your own personal economy. If you can afford it, baby, go for it, because you can flip that thing in a couple of years when the market or the interest rates go back down, and you can refinance your home loan, and then you can get a better mortgage. You can get a better rate. But you got to start somewhere, and we can't be afraid to start. We cannot be, if your numbers, if it makes sense and you're not going to be house poor, and you're going to be able to see some return on your investments, if you're going to be able to see some increase, and you can still do it, it really is okay to not give somebody else your money, because those, they're benefiting from us and our fear of not getting out there and starting somewhere. I'm sorry, I think you were going somewhere else, but please forgive me.
No, that is exactly it. I prayed about what I wanted to accomplish with this conversation tonight? I want people to stop letting fear rob them. I want people to stop letting comfort rob them. The Austin area specifically is a little challenging. Like I told y'all, I'm a girl from the east side, the original east side of Austin, not the cool, expensive east side that we have today. And a lot of my network, the people I grew up with, people I went to school with, we all started in these very humble beginnings through education and just, having a little time to make some money. We're in better places now. But my point is, I don't have many $1 million clients. Praise the Lord, I have some, but I don't have many. People are buying houses every single day with the income that they have in this current market with these current interest rates. But they're only able to do it because they stop letting fear rob them. And they're not afraid to be a little uncomfortable. I have people say, I want to purchase a home, but I want it to be under $2,000 a month. Austin area. I want to purchase a home, but I want it to be under $2,000 a month. And I say, I got it for you. I can take you north to Gerald. I can take you south to Maxwell. Nobody even knows where Maxwell is. It's San Marcos area.
Wow.
Okay. I can take you to Euland. Nobody knows where Euland is. It's San Marcos, Kyle area. I can get you a home for less than $2,000 a month. I can even make sure that you get some help with that down payment and those closing costs. And people say, that's too far. You willing to drive a little extra 30 minutes on the toll road to get this equity going, to get this generational wealth built? That is what I want people to grab tonight. If you are not purchasing a home because you are afraid, or if you haven't even started the process because you're comfortable where you are, do not miss what God may have for you. I'm not saying that he has it. I'm not saying it's a green light. It may be a yellow light, but start the process. Stop, please, especially our community. Please, let's not let fear and what we hear on the news and what we hear in the media and from that uncle who bought a house in 1996. He don't know. Uncle don't know. Stop letting those things rob us. Let's at least start the process to take a peek, grab that snapshot, come up with a plan so we can get to where God wants you to be.
Absolutely. The crazy thing about the interest rates, Tiaja, that makes me chuckle. We will swipe that 30% interest rate credit card faster than some on something crazy, and we'll pay the crazy interest every month. Wonder why we can't pay it down. Can't, because we keep swiping. We will swipe for a bag, and we're afraid to buy a house.
That's right.
And that is what's keeping us from realizing our goals. That's what's keeping us from having that thing in our hand that we've been praying about. We cannot allow fear to cripple us any longer. We deserve nice things too.
Yes.
Our Black and brown people deserve to be home owners.
That's right.
We just have to have a little bit more discipline, and we have to have a lot more faith. And so, okay, I got some questions on the screen.
Okay.
And I don't want to let you go before I answer them. And someone wants to know, how do we use the equity in our home? And I'm sure you can't answer that.
So this is an excellent question for a lender. This is where I start to say things like, I stay in my lane. I'm not the finance person. But in general, and I work with an excellent lender who I can share the information, they can give you all the background info on this. But there are a couple of different ways. One, I did see something about a home equity line of credit. That is absolutely an option. The thing people don't think about with pulling out their equity, whether it's a home equity line of credit or one of the other products that you can use to tap into your equity, your credit report and your finances are going to be checked again. So before you really start that process, speak with the lender, get an idea of where your credit is. I've had people, work with the lender and they say, she could have maybe pulled out her equity, but her credit's not where it needs to be, or she hasn't been at her job long enough. And so these little things are going to make a difference. It's a similar review as to when you got your mortgage loan. Okay, so keep that in mind. But HELOC is one of the most popular ways that people actually pull in their line of credit. And it's like a credit line. It's like a credit card line of credit where they say, this is how much your home is worth. and we'll let you borrow up to a certain amount. Texas is a little harder on how people can pull their equity out. They put some caps on different things, but there are programs out there for that for sure.
Yep. Thank you for answering that. How do you know when or at what point to pull or use the equity in your home?
It depends on what you're wanting it for. So I have a friend who is thinking about pulling some equity out of her home to invest into her business. So what are you using the money for? If you are thinking equity in terms of, I want to use this equity to buy another home, we need to have the conversation. Does it make more sense to sell the home? Or if you are going to use this line of credit or you're going to pull your equity out of your home, what is the plan? Are you going to use it as an investment property? What are we doing? But it really comes down to what your goal is. What do you want to use the money for? And that's going to help us set a realistic budget, and help us kind of figure out how much money you really need and how to get you there. It's a little more involved than that, but that's the gist of it.
It has to make sense. It's
Right.
not just to pull it out to incur another debt,
Yeah.
is the way I like to look at it, because you still have to pay that money back.
Yes, you
It's still
do.
another expense in the long run that you have to pay it back. So it has to make more make more sense to pull it out than not to. So if you want to pay down some more debt, which allows you to have more money in the long run, then sure, that's great. Like, or to buy another property, which will then bring more income in the long run. But to pull it out just to pull it out, um, I wouldn't advise that. In my profession, I told them the other day I know a little bit about a lot of things to get me in enough trouble, and so.
I like that. That makes so much sense.
I said, well, because some of these things being in finance, you come across, you can answer, but it's like let me stay in my lane. I don't know enough about that to tell you whether it's something that you should. Let me incur the advice of an expert. So we're going to incur the advice of an expert for you on that question when you should pull your equity out of your home, but it's just got to make
Absolutely. Right.
sense.
I got a
Okay.
lender for you.
Someone said having a house is a big responsibility. Yes, yes. If you go back to the beginning, we talked about that. Talked about the responsibility of owning a home. Is it time to own a home, or should you just kind of wait and stay where you are until you can incur that big responsibility? Because nobody wants to be house poor.
Mm-mm.
And then he says, is it a buyer's market for homes today?
So currently in the San Antonio and Austin markets where I work, I would say yes. And here's why. I could nerd out on, months of inventory and different things like that. But what it really looks like for you as somebody who's thinking about buying a home, how much money can I get out of the seller?
Mm.
Full stop. Houses are sitting on the market. Let's say you put your house on the market today. Statistically, it will not sell until 80 days from now.
Oof.
People are ready. If they have their house on the market in this market, they're ready to get rid of it. They want to sell the home. There's a reason. And so those kinds of opportunities, and the way the numbers are kind of looking, that's pretty much what we use to gauge. I would say it is a buyer's market. It is very common to get money from a seller. We call them concessions. They can help you with closing costs. They can help you buy down your interest rate, things like that. It is very much a buyer's market.
Yeah, 80 days to a seller is a very long time. That means
It's a long
I
time.
I put my house on the market hoping that it would turn around over the weekend. And here I got two more mortgage payments to pay before I can kind of release, or almost three before I can release this home into someone else's hands. And that is a very long time
It's
when
a long time.
your head is already somewhat, as a seller, most time their head is already in their next. And so still having to take the responsibilities of my now, that is a long time. So that is good. That is
Yeah.
definitely a buyer's market. Someone says, so as a single income home, so in a single income home, what is the income requirement? That's a good question.
Ooh, I have no way of answering that question. The truth is, we would have to look at the lender really would have to look at how much money you make, but it's not just your salary. It's quite literally, how does that compare to your debt? How does that compare to, what maybe your credit score looks like? So I don't have a way of giving you a full answer. You'll see things on Instagram or social media. Well, they'll say, in order to purchase a home in Texas, the average person needs to make $145,000 a year. And they're pulling these statistics from somewhere, but I want to give you a little, if you do make 145 a year, you're in a great place. Let's go buy you a home tomorrow. If you're not quite there, people are still purchasing homes at the average salary of 50,000, 55, 60,000. It's still doable.
Yeah. Like you said, you may have to go to, where is it? Maxwell?
Maxwell,
Max,
yeah.
yeah. And if it's just right outside of San Antonio, that's not too far. San Antonio, that's about what, 55 minutes to an hour
So
away?
Maxwell is closer to the Austin area. It's really more of a suburb, going to be. My theory, we're all merging like DFW. So it's really closer to the Austin area. It'll take you about 35 minutes to get into Austin, like downtown Austin from Maxwell.
That's not
It's
bad.
not bad at all. The toll
And
road's right there.
and are they doing new construction in that area, or is it,
It
wow.
is new construction, so it's going to come with your warranty. You don't have to too much worry about repairs. We talked about the other cost of owning a home.
Mhm.
You got your warranty, you got your lower interest rate, because that's a huge incentive that builders are offering. That means your monthly payment is lower, and as long as your realtor gets the lender to try to crunch your tax number, your property tax numbers correctly, you can really be in a good spot and find something affordable in those areas.
I love that. Pastor, let's build in Maxwell. Our next
Let's
our
go.
next church, VLCM of Maxwell. Amen.
That's right.
Well, Tiaja, thank you so much. You are a wealth of knowledge. I sincerely appreciate the fact that we could talk faith and real estate all in one. I believe that this was a God ordained conversation. When we were wrapping up last week, I said, Pastor, we've got to get someone on to talk real estate. There's no reason to tell people budgets without telling them what you're budgeting for. You can budget for all kinds of things. And so, thank you so much for allowing us to tap your brain tonight and get the insight that we need to go to our next and to have something to look forward to. Is there anything that you would like to leave with our viewers tonight?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I was so excited about this conversation because it is something that is truly important to me. Um, People need to know that this is doable. And whether we got a green light right away or we have a yellow light, we can come up with a plan. Faith, discipline, and having the right professionals is what's going to get you there. So, thank y'all for having me. This has been amazing. If anybody has any questions, please reach out to me. I don't know how we can maybe put my email address and phone number or something in the chat. I don't know how we can do that. But please, y'all reach out to me. You see my name here on the screen. You can look me up on Facebook, Instagram. I'm here to answer any questions that y'all have. And I was not planning on saying this. I promise you, I was not planning on saying this. But if there's anybody here who, finds me from the live tonight, if you are wanting to purchase a home, you're thinking maybe you can't afford it, we get together, let's talk. I am willing to give a $500 rebate. Now, that may not seem like a whole lot of money in the grand scheme of things, but that can be your inspection. That can be money towards something. So if you are on this live, you're wanting to purchase a home, if you work with me, I can assist you. I will give you a $500 rebate. And I promise y'all I wasn't planning on saying that, but I'm serious about helping people get to the finish line.
That is major. Thank you so much. Guys, you want to contact her. $500 at the table is $500 at the table. And it really does matter. And it does help a lot. That is major. Thank you so much for being willing. Because that's coming out of your pocket. No one
It
knows
is.
that. That's
Yeah.
not somebody else's money. That is Tiaja's money. So thank you so much. I want to give everybody an opportunity to give and to sow into this. We're asking that you please try your best. so as close as you can to a $25 seed tonight, because we still have things that we're accomplishing at BLCM. Tomorrow I have a surprise at we're going to finish and round out our wealth matters series tomorrow night at Bible study, and we have some things that we have in store for you. So please meet us in the house tomorrow, 6:30 for prayer, and 7 o'clock we will start shortly thereafter, right after prayer for our final wealth roundup of what we're going to share with you. So please sow into this moment. The giving instructions are on our, let's see, they're on the screen. Yes, they are. And y'all in the comments, please tell Miss Tiasia thank you so much for her time and her treasure and her knowledge. This is treasure that we didn't have before. And so tell her thank you. Her phone number is on the screen. I believe Pastor put, yep. And her
Perfect.
contact information is also there. Now, when you get the information, make sure that you let them know that Pastor Bettina sent me. Let them know, let her know that Pastor Bettina sent you, that you are on the wow, that you are here because of BLCM. So you can get your $500. Okay.
Yeah, I like that. Maybe they should text wow.
Yes.
That's
Text,
simple, right?
that's
Text
simple.
wow to my number, and that way I know that you are one of my people from here from tonight. Text
Yes.
wow, and that way you can get your rebate.
That's right. That's your code word. Don't forget. Wow. Text Tiasia the word wow so that you can get your rebate. You can start your home buying process. It is doable. Faith. What did we say earlier? Discipline and faith plus the right professional will get you the green light to what God has for you. I love y'all so much. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, Tiasia. I
Good
love you
night.
so much.
Love you. Thank y'all for having me.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.
Bye.